Every summer, emergency rooms fill up with patients that are suffering from heat-related illnesses that are completely preventable. Let's chat about it today. Hello, everybody, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. We are all about pantry preparedness. Part of preparedness in general is understanding how heat can impact us. And that's where we're going to start today. Whether you're working outside, taking care of elderly family or children, the heat will impact how you manage your day. Knowing the symptoms of heat stroke, heat exhaustion, or other heat-related illnesses can literally save lives. Today, we're going to walk through 8 crucial conditions to watch for, how to prevent them, and what to do if they strike. In my opinion, this is must-know information for the impending heat waves that are hitting us, especially on the West Coast. It's getting pretty gnarly already this season. It's hot, and they are predicting all kinds of heat coming at us, depending on where you live, this summer. I know it's a hot one here today. Heat-related illnesses can range from mild conditions like heat rash, right, or cramps, to life-threatening emergencies like heat stroke. These are things to take very seriously. Number one, we're going to talk about heat cramps, because those are no fun at all. So the signs of heat cramps is painful muscle spasms, especially located in the legs or the abdomen, okay? And heavy sweating during intense activity. Now, you're going to say, Lisa, if I'm doing intense activity, I'm going to be heavy sweating anyway. Kind of play along with it. If it's abnormal, if it's different than what you normally experience during intense heat, then that's when you seriously pay attention. How to prevent this is to stay hydrated, but it's not just with water. Make sure that you're getting electrolyte-rich drinks in your body. That is imperative, because the more that you are sweating, the more that you're getting rid of those electrolytes, and just drinking water is not going to replace them. So make sure that you have some kind of electrolyte beverage mix that you like, or straight up beverage that you like, available. You also want to make sure that you are taking breaks, okay? I think most of us know as we get older that it doesn't all have to be done right now. I don't work in the yard the minute it hits noon. I do not do it because it is horrible when it's hot out. So I know that that's when I take my break and I get out and I get into some shade. So whether it's 5, 10, 20 minutes, couple hours, make sure that you are taking breaks in a shaded area during physical activity. Now, if you've got the heat cramps, right, we need to know how to treat them. So you want to stop doing what you're doing. Stop the activity and rest. That's number one important. Make sure that you're drinking plenty of fluids, including something with electrolytes in it. Gently stretch and massage where the cramping muscles are. Very gently, okay? Don't try to power through this. Plan on probably not going back out into it today. But those are the things that you can do to kind of work with it when it does hit. The next one is heat exhaustion. I don't know about you, I'm exhausted most days, but heat exhaustion is no joke. These are the different signs for heat exhaustion. There is heavy sweating, weakness or tiredness, dizziness or fainting, cool, pale, clammy skin. Yeah, during heat exhaustion. Nausea, vomiting, rapid, weak pulse. That's another thing to pay attention to. Muscle cramps come into it also, and a headache. Heat exhaustion can include one or all of those things. And so because some of these are going to overlap, like the muscle cramps, you may think, oh, it's heat cramps, right? But it might also be heat exhaustion. So it's something to pay attention to and to see if you have any of the other symptoms. Some simple ways to avoid heat exhaustion: wear lightweight, light-colored clothing. That's going to make a big difference. Avoid physical activity during the hottest parts of the day, which are normally 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I know. It's also, you think, the most productive, right? If you're prone to suffering from heat exhaustion, that's not the time to do it. That's honestly why I am not out in the garden or doing any kind of yard work outside during the hottest part of the day. I can't take it. I can't even walk down my street for any length of time. Like the mailbox is the closest I'll get. So those are things to take into consideration when you're planning your activities. Another thing for prevention is, again, to drink water regularly, even if you're not thirsty. And that may seem kind of counterintuitive to how you normally operate, but making sure you get those fluids in, especially when you live in a hot climate or are enduring some kind of horrible hot temperatures, even if you're not thirsty, make it a practice. Set an alarm on your phone for every 5 minutes. Take a sip, you know. That's the way to do it. Avoid caffeine and alcohol in the heat. Those are not good. Some really simple treatment for this is to move to a cooler location. Now, I'm not talking about your entire household. I'm talking about wherever you are, okay? If there's air conditioning someplace, go there. A shade or fan, you know, something that's going to be a little bit cooler than what you're doing. So if I'm out there in the sun and I get way too hot, then I'm going to come here under the shade or go in the house where there's a fan. I'm going to find a way to make the air move and to not have the direct sun beating down on me. Another thing is to make sure you're loosening your clothing. Don't wear snug, tight clothing when this is going on. So if you're somebody like me, I love leggings. They're comfortable. It allows me to do everything. Leggings, no way. Tight shirts, tight pants, tight anything is really, really not good when you're dealing with heat exhaustion. The next thing is to apply cool, wet cloths, freeze some washcloths or just run them under some really cold water. Or better yet, if you can, go stand in a cold shower. That feeling is miraculous. When you do drink, you want to sip it slowly, not chug it. You're not slamming, 32 ounces of water. That doesn't help, yeah. If you are vomiting and vomiting continues or symptoms don't improve within, say, 30 minutes, you want to get some medical help because this can be very, very serious. So pay attention to the time, pay attention to how you're reacting and how long it takes to recover if you're recovering. Heat stroke is so dangerous and so bad. And these are some things that you can look for as signs for heat stroke. High body temperature. So if you take your temperature and you're at 104 Fahrenheit or 40 Celsius or higher, yeah, heat stroke, okay? Hot, red, dry, damp skin, that's it. And how can it be dry and damp? Away. Confusion and slurring of speech. Heat stroke, that's a medical emergency. That's no joke. Do not take that lightly. You want to act rather quickly with this, okay? So some of the signs to look for is your body temperature. If your body temperature is over 104 Fahrenheit or 40 Celsius or higher, then that is definitely a sign of heat stroke. You want to see, are you hot? Are you red? Is your skin really dry or is it damp? That's one. Confusion and slurred speech, kind of just like a stroke, okay? Seizures happen. Yes, not good. Loss of consciousness can be one of the symptoms. A very rapid or strong pulse and no sweating despite the heat. So if it's that hot and you're not sweating, there's a problem. Immediate action to take is to call 911, whether you think you're going through it or somebody you're with is going through it. Immediate action is to call 911. While you're waiting for help, these are some things that you can do to just help, Move the person or yourself to a cooler environment. So in the shade or the air conditioning, remove any excess clothing. No joke, just get it off, okay? Use the cool cloths or an ice bath to rapidly lower the body temperature. You want to fan air over them while applying the wet cloth. So it's not just apply the wet cloth, it's create a breeze to go with it. Do not, and it's again counterintuitive, but do not give fluids if the person is unconscious or confused. You have to make that determination for other people. For yourself, it's going to be a little bit harder. Now, when we're talking heat-related illnesses, there's a few different ones, but some general tips to consider to avoid heat-related illnesses is to stay indoors when the temperatures are extreme and there's heat alerts. They give heat alerts now, yeah. Fans, air conditioners, cooling centers, go hang out at the library. They have air conditioning and books. Yes, they do. Wear wide-brimmed hats. Definitely sunscreen. Any kind of hat's going to help. Kind of like in the wintertime, you put it on to keep the heat in. But wide-brim hats create shade. And so anybody can wear them, okay? And it's a great way to make it just a little bit cooler. I try to find ones that definitely have the ventilation through the top. That makes a big difference. You want to drink water every 15 to 20 minutes when you're outside. So if you're outside gardening and you're like me, you're kind of prone to just zoning in and doing your thing, right? Set an automatic timer on your phone to go off every 15 or 20 minutes to remind you to take a drink. And then don't ignore it. Actually take the drink. If you can, check on elderly neighbors, infants, those with chronic illnesses that you know of, that are near you, that are family members, and never leave anyone, including your pets, in a parked car outside. It doesn't matter if the windows are down. It really doesn't. And anybody that leaves a pet in a car in extreme heat should be locked in the car themselves. Take the pet in for an ice cream. One of the things that you can look for is heat rash, otherwise known as prickly heat. Oh, it is irritating. It can be painful. It is ugly, right? It's little red clusters of pimples or small blisters that you get. They usually appear on the neck, on the chest, on the groin, or elbow creases. Yeah, they're itchy and they're just prickly, it's a sensation. So that's how you recognize them. Prevention for them is to keep your skin cool and dry. And I know it's hot, okay? But wear loose, breathable clothing. This is the time to stay away from polyester, my friends. It really is. Avoid excess sweating. Any excessive sweating is going to amplify the potential for prickly heat. That's the way it does. Now, there's also fainting. Fainting is another thing that can happen with the heat. And the signs of that are sudden dizziness or fainting after standing too long or rising too quickly. Often occurs in hot environments, especially after exercise. So if you're going to walk or work out outside, do it early in the day. One way to prevent it is to make sure you're staying hydrated. Do you see? That's kind of a repetitive theme here, is to stay hydrated. Avoid standing still for long periods in the heat. No standing outside in lines. No, just don't stand outside in the heat, especially the direct sun. And then gradually cool down after physical activity. Doing it too quickly can actually cause more problems and can cause, fainting. So one of the things you can do if somebody that you know of is suffering from this is to get them to lie down in a cool place. So again, get them in the shade, get them where there's a breeze, do something to help them cool off, cold cloth, some water. Elevate your legs. Yes, you want to get that blood flowing the right way, okay? So elevate those legs, get them above the heart, help it do its job to get you back to where you're supposed to be, and rehydrate with water or electrolyte drinks. Super important. And the one that I think is the most important that a lot of people don't think about is getting those legs up, elevating your legs above your heart. That's a big one. Now, there is another one, and it's basically a heat and muscle breakdown. And this is how it's spelled right here. Not even going to try it, okay? But the signs of that are severe muscle pain and swelling. So it's actually worse than heat cramps, okay? If your urine is dark or tea-colored, that's a sign. Weakness, nausea, confusion, it's not good. So it's heat plus muscle breakdown. There you go. The risk group, because this kind of targets certain people, is often your athletes, your military personnel, or outdoor workers who are working in extreme heat, like the folks that are fixing our roads, or construction workers, or whoever is working on the heat. The male person can do this. Those are the risk groups, okay? Prevention is, again, not too difficult. Hydrate well. Hydration is going to be key. Avoid overexertion in heat, which is hard to do if it's your living, and gradually acclimate to the heat. And so literally yesterday, when I woke up, it was 36 degrees, and today it is 85. That's not gradual. That's rude. It's just rude, Mother Nature, okay? So we're doing the flip-flop here, but if you can gradually become accustomed to the heat, it's less of a shock on your body. The treatment for this, don't mess around, okay? The heat plus muscle breakdown is a medical emergency, requires hospital treatment to prevent kidney damage. If they're not drinking enough water, they're going to be able to tell with their urine. A lot of people, everyone can tell with their urine whether or not they're drinking enough water by the color. The more diluted it is, the more water you're drinking. So it's a good thing. But when it gets that dark, yeah, that cannot be good, and it can definitely impact your kidneys in a very negative way. The next symptom is dehydration. I've been there with dehydration. Yes, I have. And it's not good. I have always run mildly dehydrated because for decades my main consumption of liquid was Diet Coke. That's not a liquid, by the way. Yeah, it's not considered a liquid. It does not hydrate your body. Is it better than nothing? Yes, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. But it's not something that hydrates your body and makes you better. Now, in the last few years, I actually went through a deal with dehydration. And I was talking to one of my friends and I said, I don't get this. My head's not right. I'm not focusing. All the things. So things to pay attention to: extreme thirst. If you're dehydrated, you're going to be super thirsty, okay? Dry mouth, dry skin, dizziness or confusion, seriously. And when you stop for a minute and you go, why is this messing with my head? That's why. And then the dark yellow urine or decreased urination, because obviously if there's no input, there's no output, okay? And if you're dehydrated in the heat, there's not even the sweating, or you're sweating it out, and so there's no other way, for it to go. Something to pay attention to. You will just not feel right. You will know that your brain is not functioning properly. And that's why having somebody else pay attention to it too helps, because when you're the only one paying attention to it, and we're all pretty good at hiding when we know we're not acting right while we try to figure out what it is, don't do it, especially if you are dealing with heat, because it is super important. The best ways to prevent this is to drink water regularly, even when you don't feel thirsty. Drinking water is not about thirst. It's not. It's about hydration. It's different. You want to increase fluids during activity or heat exposure. So even if you are hanging out in the garden for an hour, you want to make sure you're drinking extra liquids and nothing that's like caffeine, which is a diuretic, which does the opposite of what you need it to do. Treatment for this is rest and rehydrate. That is literally all you can do. And it's literally all you're going to want to do, okay? It's really bad. Oral rehydration, salts for more severe cases. So your pickle juice can come in handy. Anything like that. Make sure that you're adding a little salt. Make sure you're getting your electrolyte mixes in there. That's big. IV fluids may be required in hospitals for severe dehydration. You really want to beat it before you get to that point, but don't be afraid to get to that point, because it's not good to be dehydrated. Number 8 is something called hyponatremia. Hyponatremia, that's low blood sodium from overhydration. Wait a minute, Lise, you're telling us to drink all this water and now you're saying we can become overhydrated? You betcha, yeah. So signs for overhydration, okay, or low blood sodium is nausea and vomiting. You get a headache, again, confusion and seizures, right? Swelling of your hands, feet, or brain in severe cases. Not to be messed with. It can occur if drinking too much water without replacing the electrolytes. The electrolytes really are a key factor. You need to make sure that you're getting the electrolytes in. It's not just the consumption of water. So when somebody tells you, oh yeah, I'm drinking 2 gallons of water a day, make sure that they are putting electrolytes with some of it, because otherwise they're just flushing all of that necessary minerals out of their system, and it's not good. Prevention for this is really simple. Balanced water intake with electrolyte-rich drinks during prolonged sweating. So if you're doing something where you're sweating a whole bunch, make sure that you're getting the electrolytes back in. Treatment requires medical treatment to safely restore sodium levels. If you get to the point where you're depleted and you're showing these massive signs, then it's a hospital visit, my friends. So important. Just pick up some electrolyte additions to your drinks and slam them down, because you need them. You really, really do. One of the key rules of thumb with this is if someone is confused, stops sweating, faints, or has a high fever in the heat, do not wait. It's time to call 911. Don't hem and haw. Don't ask their opinion. Pick up the phone and call 911. Super important, okay? You can do this. With the heat that they're predicting for this summer across the country, heat doesn't have to be deadly, but only if you know what to watch for. And hopefully this video has given you the things to watch for. Also, if you check out the link down below, I've put it on a page on my website so that you can print it out and have this checklist to refer to in case of an emergency. Do me a favor, if this video helped you feel a little bit more prepared, could you give it a thumbs up? It really helps us get our word out to everyone. Until next time, everybody, be safe. Keep stacking it to the rafters, my friends.